It's that time of year again where things are starting to green up just a little bit and you're starting to get excited about all things that are going to happen in the summer before we get so overwhelmed. But right now we are in the dream stage and we're finally getting to start it. So today you get to come along with me as I start some seeds for the year. We actually did not get very much snow at all this year. What you see in the background of my yard right now is pretty much the most that we have gotten. So while I cannot complain too much because it was such an easy winter, it's still really exciting to be able to finally get started with starting seeds and dreaming about gardening. Now when I plant seeds or when I start seeds, no matter what I do, I always go above and beyond with the amount that I do because I have so many little kids. It is inevitable that the little hands are gonna mess something up, rip something out, anything like that. So here you're gonna see me start some seeds. I'm gonna show you a little bit of my journey, but I actually start a lot more than what you see here. And the reasoning for that is because if they do even make it to seedling and being able to plant, once they're in the ground, they are gonna get ripped up. Now when I start seeds, you can see here I just poured the soil in this big pot. This is actually soil that I had from last year, and then I did buy a giant bag. I just went to Sam's Club and just got their biggest bag of soil, but that's the extent of it. I don't use any kind of special thing anymore. I used to when I first started. Now I just get normal, whatever I can find soil to start my seeds in, and it works just fine for me every year. Here we go, we are starting. You see that I am starting with broccoli. Obviously it's a colder season plant, and we go through a tremendous amount of broccoli. So I actually do a few different varieties every single year, and I cannot tell the difference between any of them, but it's just fun for me to have different kinds. I feel like people make seed starting a lot harder than it needs to be. I follow the rule of twice as deep as the seed is. So a broccoli seed is really, really small. You can basically just barely tap it into the soil, and that's all I do. I don't count or I don't measure like anything. I don't measure how deep the seed needs to be. None of that. I just kind of eyeball it and hope for the best. And then since the soil was wet, I didn't even like spray it or anything like that. But now I'm just covering it up with some press and seal. I feel like that is the best as far as just creating that greenhouse effect. So that helps to really keep it nice and moist and warm in there. You can just use normal saran wrap, but I like that press and seal factor. Now one of the fallbacks of buying just store-bought, like nothing special seeds starting soil is that you are gonna get big old chunks of sticks that you do have to take out, but to me it's not worth having to go out of my way to find a special kind of soil. Now I do like to label everything, and I like to just write down kind of everything that I do, track everything that I do. I do this every single year. This is my plant tracker. Like there's really nothing special about it. I just write down what varieties I did, how many I did, when I started it, and that way future me can look back and say, okay, this is how long it took things to sprout. This is how many I made last year, or how many I planted last year. Was it enough? Was it too much? Stuff like that. So this is actually, I have this available for free. I'll put the link down below. But if you would like my seed starting planner, go ahead and click that and I will email it to you. It truly will be a game changer for you. Your future self will thank you when you can look back and see, because you think you're gonna remember, but you never do. There is just something so special about being able to start your own seeds. I do still go to the greenhouse every single year, and I do still buy vegetable seedlings from them, but just something about giving your mind and your body and your hands something to do that reminds you of spring and summer and harvesting during the middle of winter when it is cold outside and that's all you want to be doing is being outside. This definitely can bring some joy and some happiness to you. It's a fun activity, not just for me, but for my kids as well. So if you have never started seeds, I highly suggest doing it. it's really not as difficult as it needs to be. And even before I had this giant sunroom with all these windows, I still did it in the house, and I just used just a simple shop light to keep the seeds going. And actually I still use the shop light even in this because it is still basically winter and we still don't get enough light. I wish I had about 100 more of these pans. They are perfect for holding seed starts, and you can just throw some water in the bottom, and then you don't even have to really worry about watering them for, I don't know, once or twice a week probably is as much as I water my plants that are in that one. This year I am really cutting back on the amount of tomato plants that I am planting. Past years I have done between 50 to 80 tomato plants. This year I'm doing maybe about 10, and that's including ground cherries, cherry tomatoes, just specialty tomatoes. And the reason for that is my husband gets really bad acid reflux with tomato products, so we are trying to not completely eliminate them, but they will be used a lot less, which is breaking my heart. But here I'm just showing you a close-up of how I do the seeds. Like, you can see how tiny these are. I am just spreading them out a little bit, and then I'll just barely cover them with the soil. Here we go. I am at the last of my soil, so I didn't get near as much done as I had planned or wanted to. A few days later, I got the big bag that I was talking about, but I'm finishing up grabbing the rest of the soil in here, and I just finished planting the seeds. Now, while this video may make it look like this was a very simple process, there was a lot that I had cut out with this kid being here. It was honestly true chaos, no matter how many kids I have with me. You know, dirt gets everywhere, seeds get everywhere, and it's just a part of the game. And honestly, the vacuum cleans it all up, no problem at all. So here you go, he's helping me. Normally we would spill one or two, and here is my simple setup right here. So I hope you enjoyed starting some seeds with me. I hope you started your own seeds, and I would love to hear what your plans are for your garden this year. Write down in the comments below what you are seed starting and what you plan on growing in your garden, because I would love some ideas. I hope you have a great week.